Marriage isn't 50-50. And if you go into marriage thinking, oh, you're going to do your half and I'm going to do my half, you're setting yourself up and you'll be greatly disappointed. Marriage goes through different seasons. There are times when it's just you, and then possibly you have kids, and those kids are growing through different stages. Those different things would affect your marriage one way or another. Maybe you're not working and he's working. Maybe he's working and she's not working. There are so many factors that affect marriages or that introduces different nuances that you might not be prepared for into your marriage. But if you have that mindset that, oh, it's always supposed to be 50-50, you'd put a strain on yourself and you put a strain on your marriage, and you put a strain on your partner as well, because your expectation of them would always be at a certain percentage of which it shouldn't be, because marriage is all about compromise and meeting each other halfway and complementing each other. So sometimes you might have to do 60 and he's doing 40. Sometimes he might have to do 80 and you're doing 20. That's what marriage is. It's not set in stone to be a certain percentage, because at the end of the day, you're supposed to be complementing each other. You're supposed to complement each other's weaknesses. So where one is strong and the other person is weak, that strong person makes up for that person's weakness. That's what marriage is. Another truth about marriage is that marriage is not all about sex. Shocking, I know. But because of how much the world and social media and movies have glorified sex, so many people, especially young people, go into marriage or desire marriage thinking that it's going to be all roses and we're constantly going to be having sex and this is what it's going to be about. Well, the marriage is not always like that, because in reality, you're working, he's working. Sometimes you're tired. Sometimes you're not in the mood. Sometimes you just want a quickie. Sometimes you don't want it at all. Sometimes you don't even want them to touch you. And then if you're the woman, then you're going through different hormonal changes, which will, I'm sorry to disappoint you, it will, if it doesn't already, it will affect your sex drive. Okay, so I'm talking about things like childbirth, and then your period after childbirth, even pregnancy or trying to have a baby. All of those factors would affect your sexual drive one way or another. Sometimes, throw your sexual drive out of the window completely, or maybe just put it at such heights that you constantly want it. But whatever it is, marriage is not like every day humping each other. I know so many people come on social media and they're like, oh, you're supposed to have sex 10 times a day and 50 times a day. And it's not about them. It's not about what people are saying or what they are saying you should do. It's about what works for you in your marriage. You are the one in that marriage. What works for you and your partner. If your partner wants it 20 times a day, best give it to them 20 times a day, or find a way to make it work between both of you. But in the long run, marriage is not just about sex. Number 3, kids change everything in marriage. Everything. We have one right now, and I can tell you that from the moment you get pregnant and you start anticipating the arrival of this gift from God, everything changes. It suddenly becomes, yes, it's still about you, but then there is that you have to remember that this child is an individual that cannot care for him or herself. That person's existence is dependent on you and your husband, or you and your wife. So they're depending on you to feed, to dress, to clothe, to play, they're depending on you for every single thing. Until they get to an age where they know better, you are their God. You're everything to them. They're dependent on you. So it becomes about them. So the dynamics of your marriage will change. Maybe you like to cuddle all through the night, but here comes your toddler who wants to sleep in the middle. What are you going to do? Not allow your toddler to sleep because you want to cuddle with your husband? So kids enter the picture and they change everything. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it's not a bad thing at all. You just have to find a way to adapt, to work with your partner, your husband, your wife, to work together to come to that, arrangement where you're adapting and you're finding the beauty in the new life that you have to live. Number 4, the grass is not greener on the other side. Now, I don't know what you're going through in your marriage that is even making you think that, or what you might go through, but don't go through life, especially when you're married, thinking that, oh, that person's marriage is way better than mine. That person's marriage was what I wanted in the first place. Don't you see how this person does to their wife? Don't you see how this person behaves to their husband? You don't go through your marriage like that. You don't go through life like that. Even generally, the grass isn't greener on the other side. What you're seeing are the best parts of those people's life, because those are the things they are putting out for you to see. And even if they do put out the struggles, it's almost always when they've overcome those struggles. Do you understand? No one really comes out to say, hey, world, this is what I'm going through and I want you to go through it with me. Unless maybe it's a very dire situation or something. But most people like to go through their struggles in quiet, figure out a way to survive, and get through those struggles. And then they come and then they share with you, oh, this was what we went through. And this was how God pulled us through. Do you get what I'm saying? So the grass isn't greener. Well, necessarily greener on the other side. Now, depending on your situation, it might be greener on the other side. Maybe that's a conversation we might need to have. But don't say because you're driving a Camry and you see someone driving a Range Rover or they're living a better life. No. Number 5, marriage isn't about winning unless you are winning together. So many people get into arguments with their spouses and they are ready to fight and shout and yell and win that argument. It's all about winning for them. No, I'm the one that is right. It's all about being proven right. That's not the way marriage is. That's not the way marriage should be. It shouldn't be me versus you, my husband versus me, or me versus my husband. It should be both of us against the world, both of us versus the world. That's the way it's supposed to be. So even when we have an argument or we have a disagreement, it shouldn't be so that either of us can win. It should be so that we can understand each other better. It should be about detangling this situation that we found ourselves in so that we can understand each other better. And in the process of detangling, that's how you get to know each other better. Okay, so why did you do this? So I did this because, well, I don't like that you did that. Well, why didn't you like, or why don't you like that I did that? Okay, so we have this conversation back and forth and we get to know each other better. So it's not necessarily about what you did was wrong or the fact that I didn't like what you did. It's about how do we understand each other better so that moving forward, we don't upset each other the same way again. Number 6 is that you are going to annoy each other, and that's okay, because guess what? It's not permanent. It's only temporary. You're going to be upset at each other. You're going to have misunderstandings. It's okay. I remember going through the first year of our marriage, and every little argument we would have, I would say to myself, oh my gosh, we only just got married. Are we supposed to be arguing already? Are we supposed to be, we're supposed to be all laughter? Well, that's not the way life is. Because remember, you are coming from a completely different background. He's coming or she's coming from a completely different background, and you're suddenly sharing space. You're sharing bedroom, kitchen, living room. You're sharing everything, right? You're completely exposed to each other. You're both naked and unashamed with each other. So you're going to rub each other the wrong way. But in every misunderstanding, you have to understand that it's temporary. You love this person. You've chosen to spend your life with this person. So you have to pick your battles. You have to pick those things that annoy you. You might be finicky about so many things, but now you're married. So you need to figure out, okay, what is worth the conversation and what is worth moving on from, or what is worth ignoring. I know a lot of people say, oh, don't go to bed angry. I don't know anyone that has ever worked for, actually, because there are days that I just don't want to talk. I'm just not ready to talk. And yes, I want to go to bed. I'm sleepy. We can talk about it in the morning by God's grace. Now, that might not be the best advice, but sometimes just allowing each other that space prevents you from saying things that you would not be able to take back. Right. So I would say sometimes you might go to bed angry, and that's okay. By God's grace, it's okay, because by God's grace, you'd both wake up in the morning and then you would have the conversation. That's similar with number 8 as well, that sometimes you just wake up angry. for no reason. Maybe you're just tired, you didn't sleep well. You are sharing a space with this person. So this person is at the receiving end of your joy, your excitement, your happiness, your good news, your bad news, your frustrations. This is the person that's right there. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's very easy for you to just turn to the person and just suddenly feel irritated. It's okay, because it's a fleeting feeling. It's not permanent. Okay, so sometimes you might wake up angry, and you get over it. But remember, watch yourself when you're angry, watch yourself when you're frustrated, so that you don't say things that you cannot take back. Maybe we should talk about that in another video. What do you think? Number 9, marriage is hard work. I said marriage is hard in one of my videos recently, and a lot of people were like, oh, marriage is not hard. It's just I still stand by what I said. I believe that marriage is hard work. I believe it requires consistent attention. I don't feel like hugging anyone right now, but I'm going to hug you because you're my husband. I don't feel like being touched, but I'm going to allow you to touch me because you're my husband, because you're my wife. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's what marriage is. It's about being intentional about everything that has to do with your marriage. Being intentional about what you say to each other, how you treat each other, what you say about each other to other people, how you treat each other in the presence of other people, and even behind closed doors as well. Marriage requires a lot of intentionality and a lot of attention and a lot of work. So you imagine you're working full time, maybe you have kids, and you're also working on yourself, you're working on your marriage, you're working on your relationship with God, you're working on your marriage. It's just like, isn't this supposed to be the easy one? Isn't this supposed to be the one where I'm just like, and it is easy, especially when you marry your partner, that person, that your friend, that person that's yours, where you align in your thoughts and in your plans, and in your thinking, you align. Then it's easier when you're married to that person, but that doesn't make it any less of a hard work. Number 10, last but definitely not the least, marriage is a journey. It's not a destination, it's a journey. You've chosen to do life with this person. That's how I think of it. I've chosen that instead of going through life by myself, I found someone that I love, someone I want to share my life with, and we're going on this journey together. And it means that on this journey, we're going to have misunderstandings, we're going to disagree, we're going to agree, we're going to laugh, we're going to hug, we're going to argue, we're going to kiss, and we're going to have sex and lots of sex. But you are on this journey together. So when you fight, when you argue, when you have misunderstandings, don't act as if you will never have another one, because you will. Because why? It's a journey. So don't fight to finish fighting. Fight small and leave the remaining for later. I hope this was value for your time. Have you subscribed to the channel? Have you thumbs up the video? If you haven't, please do so right now. My name is Adenike, or Olori Esho. I hope you have enjoyed this conversation. I've only been married myself for over 5 years now, so I'm still learning. So if there are things you'd like to share with me, please go ahead and share in the comment section what has worked for you in your marriage, what you've heard, what advice you've been given, the best advice that has worked for you in your marriage, whatever they are. Please leave them in the comment section, down in the comment section. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I love you so much. I appreciate you. I can't wait to see you again very, very soon. I pray God blesses you, your homes, your marriages, and your relationships. Most importantly, I pray God blesses you. Remain in God, and God bless you. Bye.